All right. News.
Do or do not. There is no try.
There is no try.
And
No.
try not to get excited about our lead news story this even.
Mm-hmm.
Usagi Yojimbo. You know what I'm saying?
Usagi Yojimbo. Oh my goodness, Ryan. Goodness.
Baby.
So
I know he's near and dear to your heart. I know that sometimes it's been a struggle for you. I know
it has
that
been.
You've been after it.
Mm-hmm.
You've loved and lost.
Yes.
So
preach. Amen.
Big time NECA announcement.
Yes. So NECA reached a deal with Stan Sakai, and they basically have agreed to been allowed to make a figure of Usagi Yojimbo, and I am uber excited about this. Like I can't even find the words really. It's beyond me because this Usagi Yojimbo has been so near and dear to my heart, and I've always appreciated him even as like a child, like the figure and everything. And I don't recall his appearances in the animated series until we did it on the show, but like I definitely knew the toy. And so they teased us a little bit. They told us what the text on the post was that basically they've reached the deal with Stan and that they're going to be putting this figure out. So let's see if we can get the TV on real quick and break you off a little piece of that Usagi Yojimbo. There you go. What about that? Now that is a work in progress.
3D render for you.
Ooh, like it's one of those things that you don't like. You remember? I don't want to sexualize this by any means, but you know how
okay,
see that?
Yeah, all right.
But you know how like they said that on soda machine, like vending machines, they would have the Coke bottle, like you would see all the bubbles and the ice and everything in it, and how it was the shape of a woman, or the curves were supposed to be like an evocative of that. There's something maybe not as like carnal in that here, but like the proportions of this figure are doing something like it's just. That's the Usagi Yojimbo I've always wanted, because I don't think we've ever gotten the perfect one, Ryan. Like by any means. No. I think we've come close, but
there's always different interpretations, but they do move away from like Stan Sakai's like kind of like version.
Right. Now, for those who need a refresher, this is how he looked in the animated series. And it's not that far off from what NECA's going to be doing. I'm going to see if I can go back and forth to that. Like that's pretty close. But I love NECA's proportions a lot better than the animated series proportions, even though they're not terrible.
And to be honest, the animated series didn't go far off from Stan Sakai's like design of Usagi Yojimbo. So I mean, like you're pretty close right there.
Yeah, there's like a chibbiness to him in Stan's version that I'm endeared to it. That the animated series kind of shied away from a little bit, understandably so. But sure. Yeah, with NECA's rendering, that it looks like they're going to lean into it at least enough to where like I'm very satisfied with it so far. Yeah. Now we've gotten some other iterations of Usagi Yojimbo. So we've gotten the Space Usagi. That's just why like I remember as a kid being like, I don't understand why he's in space and how his ears are okay outside of the helmet. Like I had a lot of questions at that age about the practicality.
Wrong with...
But like I love it still.
Yeah.
But like yeah, he's a little much. But it's
got one of the more animated faces.
Definitely.
Like it's there. The face has got a lot of sculpt to it. But yeah.
And I think my favorite thing is if you look up on the top left corner of the screen of the box, Usagi has a carrot gun.
Yes,
and that's like
yes.
I think that should be standard issue with all Rabbit action figures. But
I totally agree.
But then when he's not the blast off bunny, he is just your average traveling Ronin Usagi Yojimbo samurai. I get my Japanese words of that warrior mixed up a little bit, but Yeah, and so these are probably
a Ronin is a samurai without a master.
Without a master, right? So, but
yeah,
and I think that's what he is. But I could be mistaken. It's been a minute since I've read Usagi, but still, these figures, these were my two favorite figures that were ever produced of him. That I now I had the original Playmates one on the left, but the
O3 is
the O3. That one had all the chibi like attributes to it that I loved, but the articulation was just horrendous because he's stuck like that. Like he could turn at his waist, but like, and I think his arms.
He has no like shoulder articulation.
No, that is how he is stuck, and that's
damn near a statue right there, dog.
It is, and it's not in a great pose, and that is unfortunately, that's where a lot of really good sculpts fell victim to back in the day was the curse of or the plight of being a toy and needing an action feature that the sculpt and articulation suffered. And so that was one of my my biggest regrets, that I never was able to purchase that because I loved that look. But at the same time, it helped to alleviate that pain, knowing that you really couldn't do much with him other than that. And so I am like eagerly anticipating this figure. Now, I'm curious how they're going to do it because NECA, as far as I know, right now they have the rights to the video games, the animated series, and the Mirage, the comics. And so we know he appeared in the animated series. We know he appeared in the comics. I don't think he appeared in a video game unless he was like a background character, but even then I don't think that happened. I could be mistaken. Let us know in the comments or email us turtlesoupshow@gmail.com. But that makes me think that this is gonna either be his animated version or his or a comics version of him. And I mean, I'm here for both, but I think that this is leaning more towards the comics version.
That looks very close to the animated series version of him.
Yeah.
The way that the outfit is and stuff.
That's true.
I love the head and like the face. Like that just looks. I just like him looking like that instead of me being like,
instead of like grinning and like showing his teeth.
Would really dish out. I think it's exciting. I think it looks like he has a lot of cool articulation too, which is kind of nice. The legs might be a little weird because of just the way that the pants kind of work on him,
right?
But the arms look awesome. And I don't know, man. I'm pretty hyped. Like
I am super hyped, and I would
just
love
for a 3D render. It looks fantastic.
And hopefully they can keep this deal with Stan and keep producing some of these figures, because I remember that 2003 had I think a character, I think it was Gen or Jin, I think it was Gen. He was like if I'm not mistaken, this is off the dome on the mic live. I think he was a rhinoceros type character, and I never saw him in person either. And I'm like, man, I would have loved that. And having read a little bit of Usagi, like I'd love to have all these characters because they look so cool. And so I'm right there with you. I'm like eagerly anticipating this and cannot wait to get my hands on this. So But moving on into some other news, talking about things that I can absolutely wait not to own. We got some news that this week confirming some things we'd heard, that there would be a partnership between Cobra Kai and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles via Playmates. Mm-hmm. And we now have images of that. Are you ready, Ryan? Here we go.
Yes. Maybe not.
Here is Michelangelo with Daniel LaRusso from Cobra Kai. And this is the in-package shot that we're seeing right now.
I saw this come across my feed and I was like, what? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, okay. First of all, I mean, is there a reason that I don't know of that Mikey has like a black bandana, but like in black like elbow and knee guards, but like has orange
on his wrists? I think just so you know that it's Michelangelo. I think that's the only reason why. But then why isn't the rest of his stuff? But I guess
is he supposed to be like the bad guy situation?
I wish I could tell you.
Like, in the Cobra Kai school kind of thing.
That's what I'm thinking.
There is no fear in this dojo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's the look they're going for.
Right. I think that's what it is. Now, for those listening, the box art doesn't look bad, actually. The box art is I prefer the imagery they're using for the turtles than what they've been using. No discredit to that artist. It's fine. It's just it's not my taste because but it's yellow and black, and I think that looks kind of cool. It's a little garish, some of the stuff, but like it's not the worst thing I've seen, I don't think. But I think I'm also just trying to bright side this, so I'm not just like
I think the yellow and black. I mean that's kind of the Cobra Kai, like that's kind of like the properties, like color
branding
and stuff.
Yeah,
so, I mean it's gotta be branded that way.
Now, have you seen the show at all?
No, I have not.
I have not either. I've heard good things.
I had that, right. That's right up there with like Ted Lasso and all these other shows. People say you gotta watch it, you gotta watch it. And I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever do that.
Yeah.
But
right. I'm right there with you. But I did hear good things, and then this is also
I heard good things about it too.
This is also, and I love the Karate Kid, the original ones that I saw. Yeah, those were fantastic, and I love the idea of this. The idea that like let's make a TV show about it. What was it? A trilogy of movies. That were back in the 80s and early 90s, I think. And then, like 10, 15, 20 years later, just like, oh, let's make a show continuing that.
Now.
I do appreciate that idea. I've never watched it, though. But mixing it with the Turtles, like, this seems very forced. And the Turtles themselves...
Well, the martial arts connection is there.
It's there. And they're 80s properties, technically.
So I don't think that mixing Cobra Kai or Karate Kid and the Turtles is like the worst thing in the world. It's a pretty good idea, especially if you have access to both IPs.
Yeah.
But and I understand that you might be going out on a leg a little bit here, so going about a bit of a limb. So you're like, well, we're not going to put like the most money into sculpting or the most money into, you know what I mean? Like we're going to kind of like, run this up the flagpole and see where it goes.
Well, let's talk about that. Because and now if you're thinking to yourself as you're watching this, I feel like I've seen these sculpts before. That's because these are the same sculpts that have been around for maybe like 5+ years, if not more than that. Which were the Playmates Classics versions of these turtles, which are currently being reissued in a 2-pack. With I forget, Bebop and Rocksteady and Shredder, I think, is coming in 1 too. Oh, and the Triceraton. So that's how they're reissuing these now. But those figures are super old. Those sculpts are super old. And they're the ones with the articulated fingers, and almost every single Donatello that they produced had messed up eyes. So that should ring a bell.
That takes me back to Turtle Soup Origins.
Oh, yeah,
that was some of our first figure reviews we did way back in the day. Was those? Those are old because our show's old. So
yeah, it is.
Wow.
And so these are those same sculpts, if I'm not mistaken, from what I can tell, and given Playmates like proclivity to stick with what they know and stuff, and usually to good, for good reason, but I think that like they're just really milking them sculpts, and I'm okay with the classics versions of the Turtles the way they are. I think they're okay. I don't like the finger articulation, but everything else it's okay. It's not the best, but for $20, and I mean, there's been worse figures, but nevertheless, I would love to have seen some new sculpting and some new things here. But literally, it's that sculpt. Like you said, the black bandanas, except for the orange wrist bands. And then they have what appears to be a soft goods gi on the Turtles.
Yeah.
And that's here. Let's see, Leonardo here. So yeah, that's pretty much all they did to the Turtles. And it looks like they whited out their pupils. And which is usually,
if they're having problems dotting the I's, then I guess that'd be a great way to go about it.
That'll get rid of it right there. But and generally that makes them look cooler. I don't know that the pupilless versions of the Turtles look great with these sculpts, but it's probably better than having wonky eyes. Now that being said, I want to talk about these Cobra Kai figures. Now, I think we get Daniel LaRusso, and we're looking at Miguel Diaz
Miguel
here.
Diaz.
And can you see right here where the mouse is at, Ryan? His forearm where it meets the wrist. I don't know how good you can see that.
That's just called a cylinder.
That-
That's just. I learned that shape in the early grades. That is a cylinder.
That is a cylinder. You might have seen it like on your pencils when you need a pencil grip, like the smooth one.
You may have almost expected this guy to have like some kind of action feature, like I can launch my hands.
I was just gonna say that. I was just gonna.
Do you
say
know what
it.
I mean? Because
yes, it looks like an arm cannon.
You would pull like behind the elbow, there'd be a hole. And
right.
It's that thing where you pull the fist is connected to like the shaft of plastic, and you pull that back on a spring inside that tube,
and then it launches.
And let it go. It's like catch these hands. You know what I mean? Like one of those numbers. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that.
I don't know. I mean, he's also posed in box. He looks like a drunk guy who's kind of gonna fight you, but probably won't because he's too drunk.
He totally does.
Like that's at least the pose. He gets that kind of like, come on, bro.
Right.
Hey, bro. And all his friends are like, God damn, let's get this guy home. Like that's what we're looking like.
That's what we're looking at. And it doesn't get any better when you go to Johnny Lawrence. Now, the arms. This is just horrible. Like somebody greenlit this dude. Like somebody said, yeah.
I take back everything I said about the NECA April's knees and the knee connections.
Right.
I take it all back. This, if those look like prosthetic legs, this looks like, I don't even know what this looks like.
I think we hit the nail on the head.
Really rough.
It looks like an arm cannon. Like that's exactly what that looks like.
No, it does. It does. And it's really unfortunate. And it didn't really have to be that way.
Right.
You know. Now, I don't make toys. I'm not a toy scientist. You know what I'm saying? But like it feels like why? And the only thing I could think is you're looking at an item that MSRP is at what, 20?
It's 40 for the 2-pack. So yeah.
40 for the 2-pack. Yeah.
Yeah. So 20.
Oh God, $40.
Yeah, for a figure, Turtles figure that's been reissued multiple times and is old as hell, with repaints and a really half-assed cloth goods gi, and then these pasty dudes.
You don't really get the value out of like the new version. I guess one thing you could say, and it sucks, you have to go and buy all the Cobra Kai guys too.
Mm-hmm.
If you were the turtle toy fanatic that has to have everything, you could say, oh, these are kind of cool variants of those old classics. You know what I mean? Like that would be great.
Mm.
When those classics came out, we were hype. I mean, like it was nice to see a new sculpt. I mean, of course that was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
But I could see being like, oh, I like the blackout look, the black bandana, that's kind of cool. But like, you also got to get kid drunk fight with it, like I don't know. Yeah, and the thing it's so funny. I keep getting stuck between like, is this a hot takes pod? Or because I feel like in our hearts we're like, well, hey, look, like, people work on this stuff and we respect the work, and I think that should always go kind of like unsaid, like unspoken, like I'm not an action figure scientist, so like if I made you an action figure of Johnny Lawrence, it would not just have cylindrical forearms, right? It would probably look like it came out of a dog. So you know what I mean? So like, I get that.
I totally get it.
But like at the same time, what inspires you for this? Unless you are a massive Cobra Kai fan and just happen to also be a massive Turtles fan, and you haven't had accessibility to these sculpts yet.
Which I can totally see. I can totally see that being a bet that they're willing to take, because you have the Turtles, which are evergreen, and you have this show that people really like a lot, and at the very least you can say you can get the hero and the antagonists to the Karate Kid in action figure form. Now I will say that Dan, I don't know if he goes by Dan now. In the show, I haven't watched it, but he probably goes by Dan now.
He does go by Dan now.
Now him with his gi, his arms look a lot better, and he's probably the best looking out of them all as far as the human figures. The one thing though that I
Yeah.
will say will probably save these figures are if the human sculpts are not shiny like the turtles appear to be, because if it's more of a matte color or finish to them, that might help keep them from looking like cheap, if you know what I'm saying. But unfortunately, those arm cannons, that's not doing anybody any favors. So lastly we get John Crease with Raphael, and that's the Cobra Kai stuff. Now, like, you know, we got some people in the chat talking about like how good it is and how much they enjoy the show, and that's cool. And I'm all for it. And I love this. And like you said, like we would love to love these things. Like I would love to be like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna be buying Cobra Kai stuff because these turtles look awesome. But unfortunately, I'm just not there. Like the best thing I can say about this is that the art on the box looks pretty cool. And so yeah, that's really unfortunate. And given that Playmates has the pedigree of being a figurehead, pardon the pun, but like an action figure making, like, because they set a lot of bars for like detail and sculpting and like cool stuff that they did. And now it just seems like they're being a little bit lazy. And I don't mean to like rip on them, but like, y'all know, it's like we know you can do better. We know you can, and we would love to see that, and I would love to give them my money, but this just doesn't get it for me, Ryan. So I'm just even with the choking hazard warning on there, you know, like even with that, like I'm still
that's
important.
It is. Yeah, I guess I worry, you know, about Playmates being, you know, a bigger company. And having to really like, you know, make their bones kind of off of the mass market stuff, you know, got to move units versus, you know, NECA with a lot of the pre-order tactics and a little bit more of the adult collectible in mind. Maybe, you know, Playmates got a little hurt by the pandemic more than NECA did in their ability to turn and burn, you know, and they're having to make a lot of a lot of choices with a limited playbook. There's something I do, if I, you know, new drinking it a little bit, there's something I really do like about the blackout kind of weapons the turtles have. I think that, like, in particular, like Raph's like blacked out size look kind of cool.
It does.
And the blacked out Ninjatos look great too. And once again, it makes you think like, well, if you would have put, you know, if you would have had 2 box sets with like, you know, 2 turtles a piece, maybe that's not so hard to swallow. $80, get all 4 turtles, get classics with a paint alteration.
Yeah,
take the geese off them if you want, it's fine. And then you have your blacked out weapons, and that's kind of cool, right? Like you can maybe just, you know, black out the colored wristbands and yourself and be like, yep, blacked out turtles. Like that's cool to me.
Yeah.
The problem is that you're actually going to drop 160 to get all that. Plus, you got 4 Cobra Kai figures with cannon arms, and you're left holding the bag. I just don't know when you're not bringing something new to the table enough. Now, if these were, say, brand new turtle sculpts, that your adult collectors are kind of like, well, okay, so I guess I'm gonna get this and go ahead and get the Cobra Kai guys. I guess so. If you're not bringing something to the table like that, I just don't know what how Playmates expected this to ship.
Right. Unless,
you know what I'm trying to say? I don't know who this is targeted at, because a lot of Cobra Kai viewers are adults that are watching it kind of for the nostalgia factor. I'm not saying kids can't be watching Cobra Kai as well, but like the bulk of your audience is your adult, and you're aiming at adult collectibles, but you're going to give us the old sculpts of the turtles, and you're going to give us kind of some subpar human sculpts while you're at it.
Yeah. Like it just
like, it's a no for me, dog. You know
yeah, I get it. I think they're really hedging their bets on the hype of Cobra Kai and the nostalgia of the turtles, and that people will buy this. Like they will, like, because there's turtle fans, and that's good. And if you do and you like these, that's awesome. I'm happy for you. I wish that I could be like these.
I'd love to love it.
Yeah, but like, Yeah, so I really do think that that's their angle that they're going for, and
Yeah.
from a business perspective, I get it, but I'm also a little let down as the fact, like we mentioned, that they are the ones that capture our imagination as children, and in ways that Mattel
Yeah.
had done it before, but like
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
various, but they took it and made it even better, and then
Mhm.
like now to see them kind of just like rest on like just these sculpts that aren't the worst thing, but we've seen them so many times, and knowing that they could do so much better. And I would just like to see a little bit more effort. And honestly, if there had been new
Yeah.
turtle sculpts and they had put some effort into these figures, the human figures, I might have bought these because
And look,
who
and
knows?
maybe, you know, to kind of like zoom out a little bit to close this segment out. Maybe the idea is, maybe we're too zoomed in. We're
Okay.
looking at this like, oh man, this that hot shit from Playmates. You know what I mean? Like we're looking at this like kind of like under a microscope. But
Right.
potentially, if you look at Playmate's larger strategy, this may have been like, okay, cool, we're going to do the Cobra Kai tie-in. Great. We're going to get these Cobra Kai figures. Fantastic. We're going to use these old sculpts, black them out. Sweet. Put them in a box. Let's do it. Next order of business. You know what I mean? That could have literally been the strategy. Could have been
Mm-hmm.
like, let's get them out there. Let's see if it ships. Let's see hey, you know, if these old sculpts sell, then maybe we'll make some new stuff with Cobra Kai, and maybe we'll keep it going. You know what I mean? Maybe we're so zoomed in, like we're going, what's Playmates game here?
Right.
But
Okay.
maybe this is part of a bigger
Mm-hmm.
thing, and we're just seeing like a way to, you know, like diversify the portfolio a little bit.
Right.
Maybe they know they're, maybe, you know, they're not. When you zoom in too much, you might think that Playmates is swinging for the fences with this.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's the case, we're looking at this like, this is not
Right.
this don't get it, basically.
Yeah.
Like this is not going to get out of the park. Like we're not doing this.
No.
But zooming out, if you go, all right, cool. Like you wouldn't throw Bandai under the bus for some of the awful Power Rangers figures they made. Like, right?
Well, more or less.
Like when you zoom out on Bandai, like you realize that, like, you know, Bandai's still like legit. Like you won't throw them out with the bathwater, do you?
Kind of, only because they it's different because they haven't set a precedent in America necessarily to show that they have since done
Yeah.
this. Since the Power Rangers, the what was it, the Legacy collection, I think is what it was. Those figures, they were okay. They were I on my Easy Opens YouTube channel that I used to do. I would talk highly of them because that's all we had. And then Hasbro comes in with the
Mhm.
Lightning collection and shows you like, well, this is what we can do for $20 compared to what. But we also know that Bandai could do a hell of a lot better because they've done
Yeah.
all kinds of things in Japan, and it's like they dumbed it down for America, which I understand to a
Yeah.
degree. But at the same time, like they when Playmates started out the gate and like with amazing sculpts
Yeah.
and detail and all this cool selection and all this cool stuff, and then now it just seems like they're kind of taking a lazy route with all this stuff. That's where the rub is with Bandai. I felt
Yeah.
like they, once they realized that, oh, we got to step up our game, then I think they started doing that with some of their other lines that aren't Power
Mhm.
Rangers anymore because they don't have the license. But
Yeah.
other things they've done since has been an improvement on those figures.
Yeah.
And so I wish that Playmates would take a similar route. But nevertheless, this is where we are. So if you like these and you want to get them, they're coming out. I think they're coming out this year. They're going to be Walmart exclusive, and again, they're going to be $40 a piece for the 2-packs. So there you go. So that's up there for all you Cobra Kai fans to take a bite out of. I don't know why you're biting it. I don't know where that came from. But anyway,
Yeah, why would you do that?
why would you do that? Like, I guess it's because they're a crime, Ryan. If they're a crying, no, it doesn't work either. Anyway, well, speaking about things that are a crying shame, you ready for this next?
Yes, we're
bit
gonna
of
round
news?
it up. We're gonna round it off here
All right,
with
I'm gonna let you take this one.
today's announcement. September the 9th, 2021. The official announcement from the Mirage Group, stating the end of the Mirage Studios. Effectively, Mirage Studios, Mirage Licensing, Mirage Publishing, and Mirage Management are all officially dissolved as of now. Today is the 9th. eBay and other sales through the site will continue until the 19th of September, and then that'll be done. So this announcement came out today. It caught a lot of people off guard. I saw various kind of levels of shock or disappointment with the announcement, kind of depending on, I think, how much you kind of like knew about what was going on with Mirage. And
Right.
the statement kind of lays it out that, in 2009, so this was just a few years before we got the 2012 animated series by Nickelodeon, Viacom. All of those Viacom Nickelodeon purchased the rights to the TMNT from Mirage. Okay. And the minute that started happening, Mirage started winding down business.
Yeah.
There were some hopes that because in the deal with Viacom, Mirage reserved the right to print 18 comics a year with the TMNT name. That's part of the deal that they made.
Right.
A lot of people were hoping for a volume 4 out of Mirage, that Laird would pull that out. I believe it's volume 4.
Probably. I think it's volume 5. Yeah.
Really?
Well, technically, because if Image is volume 3, then Mirage came back for volume 4, but that's if you count Image as Mirage's volume.
I think you're looking for a continued volume 4.
Okay, that makes more sense. That's probably what you meant. Yeah,
a continuing of Mirage volume 4 from Laird.
Okay.
Now, while people were hoping this was happening, the odds of it were already looking slim. Because you got to zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
And think about the fact that, so Peter Laird is 67 years old. I know it's going to make a lot of us feel even older. But he's 67. He has a thing called the Xeric Foundation that he works with. Around the time that Kevin Eastman launched or took over and kind of worked with his old Tundra Comics thing, Laird founded the Xeric Foundation, and his whole thing was like he just wanted to get donations in to donate to people to publish their own comics.
Right.
So Kevin wanted to like publish people's comics in a very like kind of almost like a modern like Image Comics way. Very creator centric, very creator rights focused publishing.
Right.
Laird kind of was like, I don't really want the headache of publishing people's comics. I want to give them a bunch of money to publish their comics. Okay, that's what Laird's been chiefly kind of working with throughout this whole time. Now we know because we've had Turtletarians kind of like inside the Mirage, at least assisting Mirage with selling some of their assets on eBay and through the website, as well as a lot of Turtletarians that took advantage of those sales. My take on this is I think Eric shares this point. We discussed a little before the show. We all kind of knew this day was coming if you had your ear to the ground with Mirage.
Right.
Now the website will not be updated, but it will be maintained. So all the information they have on there, including like how to one thing I love the asset they have is a ways to authenticate TMNT number ones.
Oh,
There's
that's
like a
awesome.
whole like a counterfeits guide kind of thing. Like, well, here's how we did it, and this is from the source. This is from the guys who made it. So if you're looking to buy a number one and it's not already CGC graded or sealed by another third party company and it's open, you can kind of like go through the guide.
Right.
It has a lot of really cool historical stuff about the TMNT comics that were printed by Mirage. Okay, that's still going to be around, but the actual publishing from Mirage is over. I kind of liken it to like when someone has like a long, kind of like a long terminal disease, you get used to the idea of them being gone. And when they actually go, it's kind of like that's the finality of it. Yeah. I'm not trying to imply that Mirage had some disease, but they were shutting down.
But they are shutting down.
That was what was happening. That was the party line the whole time.
Right.
So, my conclusion is, sad to see the day happen. It's a historic day. Um, it doesn't mean that something couldn't happen in the future with it, right? I mean, doors are always kind of open. And it's definitely a chapter, a closing that we all need to recognize.
Definitely.
At the same time, Peter and all the guys at Mirage have put so much work into Mirage, and keeping Mirage up and stable for the whole time that they've been winding down.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really lucky that they were able to sell off so much stuff to so many fans and give them an opportunity to own those things and not just literally shutter the doors and throw all the crap away.
Mm-hmm.
That they actually worked with people to try to do things the right way. So I want to give a big honestly a congratulations to Peter Laird for staying aboard the ship. You know what I'm saying? Making sure it goes right. Peter and everybody at Mirage that stayed with Mirage through the last days of it. And I really want to commend them for their work and their careers and for doing it the right way. So I'd say, it's time to knock one back for Mirage, and there's so much stuff they made to enjoy. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
And you still can.
And it's nice.
So that's kind of my take on it.
It's nice to know that they kind of went out more or less on their own terms. Like they got to have a say in how they did their own eulogy in a sense. And there's something to definitely be said about that. And but it is very sad to kind of even though they haven't been as ubiquitous as the Turtles themselves have been in the last 10-15 years, as much as they were back when they started. It was still nice to know that they were still there, and it was just something. It was one of those comforting things, and so it is going to be a little strange to go on without that, knowing that that's no longer a thing. But that's the part of anything that lives, is that one day it'll die or go away at the very least, and so and transform, become energy, go into because you can't get rid of energy, it just becomes something else, and so that's essentially what they are doing, and. Thankfully, they were able to create this evergreen property that has stood the test of time and managed to blend generally with almost anything that you throw at it. Just work extremely well. And they have a lot to be proud of for the things that they did with this company. And I don't know. It's one of those things where you're just like, oh man. That it's hard to hear, but that it's they're putting it in good hands. They're putting it in capable hands. So there's that. But So sorry to end it on kind of a somber the news segment, but I
mean, at the end of the day, it once again, I think it caught people more off guard because of just it's actually over.
Yeah,
it's actually over now. It's not. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're not working on it. Like it's done.
It's kind of
I think that caught a lot of people kind of off guard because it was a little random. It was on the 9th of September, and then the post is dated September 2021. So you're kind of they just decided to post it today. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, at the same time, I think that we should all really be happy. Mirage hadn't been active in a really, really long time, and I mean, you can literally takes you. We could be a testament that it takes you a very long time to work your way through all the stuff they did, because that's become our entire podcasting journey, is literally trying to encompass everything Mirage was involved with, from the front to the back, and still hacking away, guys. So it's all there, and and that's the one thing where they kind of wrap the statement up, saying that even though Mirage is over, the fans and everybody turned the Turtles into something that's always going to be around. So I mean, at the end of the day, mission accomplished.
Right?
Two guys in a one studio, one bedroom studio apartment, make a comic, and here we are. You know what I mean? So mission accomplished for sure.
Oh yeah. So there you go. That's the news. That's the happenings.
That is the news.
That's what's going on in the Turtles. At least
tune in every Thursday for hopefully more news segments live.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Thursday 8 p.m. Get it.
Go get it. All right. Well, we'll catch you on the Prime side.